Dobar dan. That's all for my myself. Madam President of the National Parliament of the Republic of Serbia, Minister, dear Svetlana, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, I was asked today to speak about a subject that seems a little bit frivolous, which is fashion. I heard that some time ago in the Serb press there was a little story pretending to be that a magazine was shocked by saying that this venerable place was about to be invaded by hordes of half-naked girls. And obviously, this kind of press doesn't know anything about fashion. For fashion is culture, is art, but as just heard, it's an industry, and a strong industry. It's been a few years now that I've had the honor of being president of the jury of the Serbian Fashion Week, and I have time to study and see how it grown and became more and more important. During the Second World War, fashionist France was totally dead. The Germans had taken all the productions, and the few factories that they were making textile were obliged to send the textiles to Germany to make uniform for the German army. So fashion was totally dead, or almost dead, at the end of the year. Therefore, it was very difficult to start this industry again. Nevertheless, with a lot of work, investment, creativity, we think of Christian Dior, for instance, investment and the taste for freedom, the French textile and clothes industry started again from scraps. Fashion is today the second industry in France, after food processing. Food processing is about 175 billion euros, and as you were reminded, fashion is about 150 billion euros. We have the same figures. To give you an idea of what it represents in the gross domestic product, 2.7%, which is more than the French automobile industry and the French aircraft industry united. So it's more than Renault, Citroën, Peugeot, and Airbus combined. You must know that the French industry is about 102 billion, while the aircraft industry is about 38 billion euros. Fashion in France, you were reminded, is about 1 million people, and I think we're not talking about something frivolous. Of course, that did not happen in a short period of time. The state had to invest in the textile industry for some period, but not for such a long time, and it doesn't invest directly in the fashion industry, that doesn't receive any help from the government, unlike other traditional industry, like car industry or plane industry that receive a lot of money from the government. Why would you invest in almost dead industries where you can jump to new industries? So let's keep on some figures so that you understand all the possibilities offered by fashion and this industrial sector. On this 150 billion euros, 33% are made of exportation, and 80% of these industries export. But among these 150 billion euros, you have to understand that it's not only fashion not only fabric. Fashion is a lot of different sub-industries for men and women. Fashion is beauty, accessories, it's perfume, and maybe other products. The textile represents 67 billion euros, the accessories 22 billion euros, perfume and cosmetics 42 billion euros, jewelry and watches 8 billion euros, and lifestyle product increasing 9 billion euros. In terms of jobs, you are told it's about 1 million euros. The wealthiest man in France is Mr. Bernard Arnault, as you know, founder and CEO of LVMH, owning the most prestigious French and international fashion, cosmetic, and alcohol industry. But there is better. Have you heard the name of Mr. Amancio Ortega? Mr. Ortega is a very discreet man, but he is the wealthiest man on earth, according to Forbes. Mr. Ortega is the founder of Inditex, owner between others of the brand Zara and Massimo Dutti. And all the logistics of the group is in Spain. So now that you're more familiar with the world of fashion, there is an important matter to develop because this is where it all starts, the fashion weeks. There are 74 fashion weeks in the world. It's a lot, maybe too much. Because of these fashion weeks, some of them don't have a real personality. And of course, what you need for a fashion week is personality. Of course, you know that the more important and influential fashion weeks are France, Paris, New York, London, and Milano. But there is room for other fashion weeks if they tell a strong story. And I really believe that Serbia Fashion Week has a strong story to tell. You've heard some figures by the representative of France. I'm not going to repeat them because once again we have the same figures. 2,000 journalists come twice a year. It's very good, of course, for fashion industry, but as well for tourism, because during these weeks, 1.2 billion euros are spent for the tourism industry. When I was president of the Chambre syndicale of couture, which is let's say, boss of Paris Fashion Week, I did two principal things. First, I invited, of course, the big names of fashion, because this is why the press comes, but I invited as well the young designers. And it's very important to take opportunity that these journalists come and see not only the men fashion houses, which of course are very influential because they buy advertising in the press, but it's an opportunity to show the work of the young designers. That's very important, and it has to be very important in Serbia as well. The second thing I did was to invite foreigners, a lot of young designers and famous houses from all over the world, from Japan, from Belgium, from China, and even from America. It's making it more influential year after year. Paris has this capacity to welcome designers from other countries. And I think the Serbia Fashion Week, which is now 6 years old, it is still young, but its reputation is growing every year. And it's very important, ladies and gentlemen, that you understand two important levels for the success of a fashion week. The first one, as we just said, is to invite foreign designers. And not only Serb designers, to make it an international event. If there were only French designers at the Paris Fashion Week, it wouldn't be as important as it is. It's famous because it is an international fashion week. And I think that Serbia Fashion Week has its role to play to become the international fashion week of Eastern countries. The second level is that it takes time to make a fashion week. I've seen many fashion weeks and I've seen many failures in fashion weeks. I have in mind Georgia or Ukraine that started very, very strong, and after 2 or 3 years they stopped everything because they thought the return on investment wasn't there. But the return on investment takes a long time. It takes 10, maybe 20 years. But after this investment, long-term investment, I can tell you this is what makes the success, and this is what made the success of Paris. So it's a great responsibility for the Serb government to help the Serbia Fashion Week. Because the fashion business industry is very slow. It takes time, to acquire the confidence of the market. On another hand, fashion is changing very quickly, so you have to adapt yourself always to a new world. We have 3 revolutions already started: industrial, marketing, and distribution revolution that are going to change totally fashion as you know it now. And in 10 years' time, it will be totally different. I'll make a lecture of it in Novi Sad in a few days. Ladies and gentlemen, you in Serbia and members of the government, you must help fashion so it can help you back. The first thing you do is to invest in image. For fashion is image. And what better image to show the world than dream, design, creativity, and especially emotion. Finding a proper and elegant place for the Serbia Fashion Week, inviting and receiving the international press and buyers, helping to find sponsors like Air Serbia, car companies, hotel organization. It doesn't have to be an enormous investment, but it has to be a long-term investment. And the people involved in the Novi Sad, in the Serbia Fashion Week, must know that can rely on the government. It's very, very important. On another hand, you're not alone. Because some other countries want to compete as well. You have a lot of competitors in Serbia who want to have this place of a leader in Eastern Europe. So the winner is the one who will show the most prestigious fashion week. Treat journalists and buyers as well as possible. The best way, make great conference, invite prestigious guests, invest in fashion. It's a great investment, a long-term investment, a great investment. You have here brave and strong professionals like Svetlana Horvat, who knows everyone who's someone in fashion, and I must say a very dear friend. So to finish this speech, please remember it's really important to help this fashion week, to help them to feel backed so they have confidence in what they do. And remember that for Novi Sad as European culture for 2021, it's going to be the same. It doesn't have to stop in 2021. It will start, but it must last forever. Thank you very much.